farmers we will meet on these tours come from all across the land that today we know as Canada. But for thousands of years, Indigenous peoples have been taking care of this land. They knew how to make sure the soil was healthy and the environment was taken care of. We rely on the land to grow food for us to eat. It's important that we take care of the land so it can nourish us. That's why we want to learn from the Indigenous people's wisdom and ways of caring for the planet. We want to work together to create a healthy future for this land and for our communities. This is called reconciliation, and it means we want to make things better between different groups of people.
Hello everyone and welcome to the second annual Great Canadian Farm Tour. My name is Laura and I will be the MC for this year's farm tour. Today is our first stop and we are heading to New Brunswick to learn all about potato farming. I would like to start by introducing you all to Charlotte, the Executive Director at Agriculture in the Classroom, New Brunswick, who's going to teach us a little bit about New Brunswick today. So let's welcome Charlotte. Hi, Charlotte.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Brunswick. I'm really excited to teach you a little bit more about our province. Today, we are visiting New Brunswick. So, we were going to learn about our capital city, provincial bird, provincial flower, and a special landmark. This is our province's flag. The ship represents the importance of shipbuilding in our province. The capital city of New Brunswick is Fredericton. It has a population of about 6,500 people. There we are on the east coast of Canada, in a region called the Maritimes. Our provincial bird is a black-capped chickadee. Black-capped chickadees often hide their food, such as berries and seeds, under leaves or in the bark of trees. Their good memory helps them to remember these locations for future eating. The purple violet is our provincial flower. The small purple or dark blue flowers grow in wet meadows and forests. A popular landmark in New Brunswick is Hopewell Rocks. These rocks are found along the Bay of Fundy. When the tide is out, you can walk on the ocean floor around the rocks. Welcome to New Brunswick, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks so much for teaching us a little bit about New Brunswick today, Charlotte.
Have a fun tour.
Thank you. And now, I am so excited to introduce you all to the host of this year's Great Canadian Farm Tour. For those of you who joined us for last year's tours, you already know her, you already love her, but now let's show some love for our host for this year's Great Canadian Farm Tour, Colleen Cronican. Hi, Colleen.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Laura.
I hope you guys have a great tour today.
Thanks. We'll see you at the end. So thanks, everyone, for joining us for the second season of the Great Canadian Farm Tour. For those who joined last year, it's great to see you again. And for some new classes this year, it's so nice to meet you. So this year, we're going to be going on 10 virtual field trips all across Canada. We'll be visiting different farms and learning how our food grows all together. So today we're in New Brunswick. We're going to be learning about potatoes, and it's my pleasure now to introduce you to our potato farmers, Alir and Paul.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Paul and Alir. So teachers, just so you know, there's going to be some question and answer periods during the tour, so feel free to leave any questions that you and your class have in the comment sections on YouTube. And now, Alir and Paul, I love potatoes. I'm sure you two love potatoes. And what are we going to learn about first today on your farm?
We're going to learn about the planting season first.
Sounds great.
We will start explaining how potatoes are planted on our farm. In the spring, we know planting season is approaching when the dandelions are blooming, the leaves in the aspen tree are big like a thumb. We also see the swallow birds are coming back from the south. We will start planting as soon as the soil is warm and dry. You need sun, nutrient, water, microbes, and seed to grow potato. The seed of a potato is actually another potato or a piece of a potato. You can see that the seed piece is blue or pink. That's because the blue and pink product has been applied on them to prevent the seed piece from rotting. we can see a little bit how the plant works. Each cup takes one seed and put it in the ground. When you look at a potato, you can see what we call eyes. Each eye will produce one stem. As long as each seed has an eye on it, it will grow. Each seed produces one plant. A plant can have multiple stems. When a plant has multiple stems, the potatoes are most likely to be smaller. You'll have bigger potatoes when there is 1 to 3 stems per plant. One plant can produce up to 5 pounds in good growing conditions. After passing on the cup of the planter, the seed will fall on the ground in front of a press wheel. The press wheel will roll on top of the seed and preventing from rolling. A mixture of water, good bacteria, and fungus is then sprayed on the seed piece. Those microbes help the plant to grow by extracting nutrients from the soil and distributing them to the plant. After the disc of the planter will bury the seed with 7 to 10 centimeters of soil. Last year, we decided to equip our planter with an hiller. The hiller puts an extra 5 centimeters of soil on top of the seed. Hilling reduces the amount of sunburn on the potatoes at the end of the season. A sunburned potato will be green. The green section of a potato should always be cut off or peeled and never be eaten. It contains a compound called solanine, which can be toxic if consumed. Hilling is very important to produce a good, healthy potato. The tractor and planters are equipped with a GPS system. The GPS is a very useful tool. It makes the tractor and the planter guide itself in the field. In the past, we used to plant starting from one edge of the field to the other. Now we can start wherever we want in the field. The GPS shows on the computer where we have passed and where we should pass. Therefore, the row will be perfectly straight. On the planter, there are 7 cameras helping me to see what I can't see from the cab of the tractor. I have 1 camera for each cup tower, so I can see if the cup are turning properly. I have 1 camera that looks at the hiller in the back. There is 1 camera that looks at the seed, and the last one that looks at the fertilizer box. I can see when it's time to refill the planter with seed or fertilizer.
Very interesting. So it sounds like there's lots of steps that go into planting your potatoes every year.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if we have some questions here from any of the live audience. Okay, so Asher asks, how many potatoes do you grow in a year?
The amount of potato can vary, but it's usually around 13 million potatoes a year, pounds of potatoes a year. So it could be like around 30 million potatoes, maybe.
Wow, that's a lot of potatoes. A lot of French fries.
Oh yeah.
And so you mentioned, Paul and Alia, that you know it's time to plant. There's some different cues that you get from the environment. So you mentioned the dandelions. Are there any other things in the environment that you notice and kind of tells you it's time to plant?
Well, around here, there's the river. As soon as the ice melts on the river and goes away, usually 1 month after, we're going to start planting. And there's the tree are starting to have some leaves on it when we are planting. So that's another thing there.
Right.
And we see a lot more birds too. The birds are coming more.
Yeah. So when spring is kind of in full swing and the weather's getting warmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we saw in the videos too the hilling that goes behind the planter. And so potatoes, are they the only crop that get hilled? They kind of get that extra little bit of dirt on top of them?
Good question. Maybe sweet potato have some too, maybe.
Yeah. So it's just really important to protect those seeds.
Yeah, I'm not sure if turnips or other root vegetables have that kind of hilling. It's a good question.
Yeah, we don't want them to get sunburned, so that's really interesting that you do that. Are there any other questions from the live audience? We got one here. So where is your farm located in New Brunswick? What part of the province are you in?
It's located around Grand Falls.
Grand Falls. And do we have one more? How long have you been farming potatoes for?
We've been farming, well, it was my great-grandfather before me, but me, for myself, it's 10 years. My father, it's 40 years. And my grandfather is still alive. It's been the last 70 years probably.
So lots of generations of potato farming.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. Okay, students, we're going to jump into our first brain break now. So if you have your activity book in front of you, listen to the brain break and record your answers in the activity book.
Did you know potatoes grow underground on the stems of plants?
Okay, so potatoes grow underground, underneath the dirt, which we'll see a video of that in a little bit. But Paul and Alir, we understand now how potatoes are planted. Can you teach us what you need to do to them to make sure they grow to be very healthy plants?
For sure, yeah. To have a potato field like this, it would take in between 70 to 120 days to grow. It would all depends on what variety is grown. Some varieties are shorter season than others. It is very important to us as potato farmer to continue managing the crop after planting right up to the end of the season. First of all, we need to take care of the weeds before the plants emerge out of the ground. We are using an herbicide to do the job. Controlling all types of weed to not grow will help us to obtain maximum yield out of our potato field. Every week, even sometimes every 4 to 5 days, we scout our field and spray fungicide. Sometimes we need to add an insecticide to make sure the plants are well protected from the bugs. Not taking care of beetles can be very damaging for the crop yield. Scouting field is very important to have an adequate crop growth. Chemicals are very regulated for us, so we need to make sure that we're aware of the temperature of all time. Let's talk about the sprayer a little bit. It's divided in 5 sections. One is in the back and 2 sections on each side. We can control the spraying of each section just by flipping a switch on and off. Our sprayer will spray approximately 30 rows every one pass through the field. There's a pump that pushes the water into the rubber pipes and first pass through the filters to make sure there's no debris before it gets to the nozzle, so we won't be plugged. Filling up the sprayer and mixing chemicals can be done right on the sprayer tank or on a spare tank that we use to pre-mix chemical in advance. Every week, when we are done spraying, we make sure the sprayer is well rinsed and cleaned up. Spray records are being maintained for a long period of time to make sure we can have a follow-up if any problems occurs in our field. Now, I'll talk a little bit about the nozzle. Nozzle, there are different types and colors. We use the blue one. There are also other colors that we can use, different type because of speed, the volume, and water pressure we want to apply an acre. Our sprayer is important piece of equipment for us. So we need to make sure it is well maintained. If we want nice, clean field of potatoes, management is a key factor. If Mother Nature collaborates with the temperature, it will lead us to a nice and clean crop.
Okay, so there's lots you need to do to make sure your potatoes are free of weed, diseases, and insects.
Oh, for sure. It's
Yeah,
got to take good care of that.
it would keep you busy in the summer, it seems.
Yeah, it follows the planting season. So if we got a good planting season, we need to be aware of the management afterward. So up to the end of the seasons.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, let's see if there's any questions from our audience. So 3A at Ellerslie Elementary School is asking, how many types of potatoes are there?
Oh, geez, there's a lot of types of potatoes. I would say over 100 types of potatoes.
Oh, wow.
We grow mostly a few types, but we go for whatever is needed for the market around our neighborhood. So we grow about 3 types of potatoes on our farm.
What's the name of one of the types of
We
potatoes?
got the Burbank, the
Burbank?
most, yeah, the Burbank. We grow Shepherdese. It's another variety, and then we got russet, russet North Dakota we call. But we grow 3 different types on our farm.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
We have time for some more questions here. So what do you do in the winter time?
Well, in the winter time, we mostly do some maintenance on the equipment. So all the equipment we use for planting potatoes, a sprayer, harvester in the fall, we do maintenance on all our equipment. So it might take sometime a week for each equipment to do the maintenance on, because when we go in the field and it's ready to go, we want to be ready. So we don't want to go back at the shop to work on something. We need to be ready. So that's
Yeah, and we've seen lots of that equipment so far. We've seen a tractor and a planter and a sprayer, so they look like pretty big pieces of equipment. You need to make sure they're running right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, another question. Does the land need to have a rest year, or can you plant potatoes in the same soil every year?
No, we do every year or so. Well, we plant 1 year potatoes and then 1 year out of the rotation crop. We either put in some grain or we put other like green stuff, ryegrass or something else. But we do on a one rotation, 1 year potato, 1 year rotation, because we want to make sure the land is as is best for us. They're on potatoes.
Okay, so you use some crop rotation in your
Yeah.
field planning. Great. It's now time for our second brain break, so listen closely to record the answer in your activity book.
Did you know, in New Brunswick, potatoes are grown on 52,000 acres of land. That is similar to the size of 832,000 tennis courts.
That's a lot of potato fields. Oh, what's that? Today's mystery word is growing. So if you turn to the last page in your activity book, you'll find your passport, and you can record your mystery word beside the province of New Brunswick. Okay, so we've learned about planting potatoes, what you need to do to protect them. What's next, Paul and Alir?
Next, we're going to talk about how we harvest and store our potatoes.
Okay.
Potatoes are a root vegetable. Roots grow underground. Therefore, potatoes are buried with soil while they grow. We have different equipment to help us harvest them. The most important one is the harvester, like you see in the video. Our harvester will pick up 2 rows at a time. There are 2 windrower, which we don't see in the video. These windrowers will dig up 4 rows each and put the freshly dug potatoes between the 2 rows that the harvester will dig. So a total of 10 rows will be harvested at a time. The harvester removes the top parts of the plants and throws it back into the field. There is a fan that separates the potatoes from the rocks. After, the potato will go into a truck. Once the truck is full, it will either go at the storage to be sold at a later date, or will go at the sorting station if they are going to be sold right away. Once the truck arrives at the storage, we will start emptying it. 2 trucks can be emptied at the same time. The potato will pass through multiple conveyors before getting to the storage. This will allow the people working on the conveyor to remove any rock, dirt, plant residue, sunburnt, or rotten potatoes. The red machine, where the 2 ladies are working, is called a dirt eliminator. It is used to remove excessive dirt. In the video, the potatoes are going into storage because they are going to be sold later. If we would be selling them right away, they would be loaded into a tractor trailer. 80% of our potatoes is grown for McCain. The truck will go to McCain's and will be emptied there. The McCain plant will process those potatoes and make some French fries or hash brown with them. Those fries and hash brown will be sold at restaurants like McDonald's, Tim Hortons, or Wendy's. Potatoes that are being stored need to be kept between 7 and 10 degrees Celsius. They have to be well ventilated. A computer regulates the temperature, the airflow, and the humidity level of our storage. Potatoes produce enough heat to keep the storage warm during the winter season. In fact, they produce too much heat. The computer will detect when it's too hot and will open the intake, which is the big whiteboard we just saw, to let the cool air in. The ventilation system will take that cool air and push it through the potatoes to cool the pile. Under the potato pile, there are sections every 2 meters of pipe that allow the air to go through. Once the air has passed through the pile, it will exit the storage by the exhaust. That process allows the potato to have enough oxygen and take the CO2 out of the storage. Potatoes breathe like humans. There is a fan on the side of the wall that pushes air into it to help insulate the wall. So every potato in the storage stays the same temperature. Some disease can occur in the storage like the one we see. It is called fusarium. Fusarium is a soil-borne fungus that attacks the potato that are bruises. A good way to prevent rotting in storage is to harvest the potatoes when they are mature in the field and handle them like eggs as much as we can.
That's a lot of potatoes, Paul and Alir. And some of those, so those are stored right on your farm?
Yeah, we're stored, actually.
Yes. Okay, let's see if we have some questions. The grade 4P class is asking, what types of animals bother the potato plants?
Well, mice can be an issue sometimes. Little rodent, they tend to eat the potato that are in the ground. Some year we see them, some other year we don't.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest issue, it's the potato beetle. It's the little bugs that eats the leaves. This is the biggest issue that potatoes have.
Right, so there's lots of insects that can harm the plants when they're growing in the field.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, another question. Does everything on your farm get done with a machine?
Oh yeah, we're planting with a machine. We're harvesting with a machine.
Pick up the row.
There's a few jobs there that we're doing by hand, like rock picking.
Right.
Sometimes we're doing it by hand, but that's the only one.
So rock picking is when you're in the field and you're grabbing stones to make sure
Yeah,
that your planters don't hit them, right?
yeah, before planting, yeah.
And then we also saw lots of technology that you use. So we saw the GPS in your tractor and we saw the cameras on your planter. So lots of technology involved as well.
Oh yeah, very useful tool.
Okay, next question. So what do you do if there's a late or an early frost?
Well, early frost there, it tends to damage your plant, but we cannot do anything about it. It's Mother Nature. We got to deal with it. We're going to lose a little bit of yield, but frost tends to help the potato to mature when you have a frost, especially a late frost, not an early one. But we have to deal with it. It's part of nature, and at that time, most of the potatoes are pretty mature there.
Right, so farmers are always watching the weather pretty closely to see how it's going to affect their
Yeah.
crops. Okay, one more question. If a sunburnt potato turns green, can you still eat it?
You can eat the potato, but you have to cut the green part of the potato. You cannot eat the green part. It can be toxic. So it's
Okay,
better not to eat the green part.
so if we ever see any green on our potato, just make sure we cut it off.
Yeah, you can make an experiment on your own. Just leave a potato on the counter at home, and after a few days, she's going to start to turn green.
Okay, so that's a little experiment our teachers can do with their students.
Yeah.
Now we're going to watch our first job spotlight. So there's many different careers in agriculture, and these job spotlights are going to introduce us to some of these careers.
Precision agriculture specialists set up farmers with the technology they can use on their farm and train them how to use it. They also use the data they collect to make decisions about the health of their fields and suggest improvements to farmers.
So Paul and Alir, did a precision ag specialist help you set up the GPS in your tractor?
Oh yeah. When we bought it, he helped us and show us how it was working, and now we can calibrate it ourselves now.
And contact him if you need help?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. Okay, so unfortunately we've come to the end of our tour today. Thank you so much, Paul and Alir. We've learned so much from you, and I hope everyone from across Canada learned something about potato farming in New Brunswick today.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's appreciated.
We'll see you later. And Laura, there you are.
How awesome was that tour? I learned so much about potato farming today.
Me too. I didn't know that you had to hill potatoes and cover them with extra dirt to protect them from the sun.
Yeah, I also didn't know that it's not good to eat green potatoes, so that's a very good thing to know, huh?
Yeah, noted.
Well,
okay.
This is the very first of our 10 tours. We have 9 more to go, and for the next tour, we are heading to British Columbia, where we are going to be visiting a tomato greenhouse.
Yeah, I can't wait for that tour. Just a couple more reminders. If you missed today's mystery word, it is growing. So put that word in your passport. And just a reminder to teachers, we're having a social media contest. So you can upload a photo of your class to social media. It can be of them drawing in their activity book, anything, just a photo of the screen that you're watching on, and use the hashtag GCFT23 contest for a chance to win a prize for your classroom.
Awesome.
And we'll see you
guys in British Columbia.
Yeah, see you soon.